Consciousness is, in fact, the basic fact of experience. Without consciousness, there is nothing else. So consciousness is the most fundamental and basic thing there is. Yet the scientists refuse to acknowledge its existence, even though their consciousness is the source of all their knowledge and discoveries. Now, can such a contradictory civilization long exist? Can the same civilization that killed a personality like Jesus Christ long endure? Because it is robbing their own citizens of the most basic rights of all living entities, which is to advance spiritually. So a state is built by the bricks of its citizens, and if you make the bricks weak, then the whole structure will fall. And this is what they have done. They have systematically weakened each and every human being by denying the spiritual process of self-realization. How long can that go on before the whole edifice crumbles into ruins? And this is what is going on today. We see in the climate change, we see in the chaos that spread all over the world, the result of 5,000 years of materialistic civilization. We have plenty of gadgets and toys. Oh yes, we have wonderful airplanes. We have great atomic weapons. Oh yes, material civilization. But is anyone happy? The divorce rate is climbing through the roof. New diseases are coming that are resistant to all antibiotics. AIDS is tearing up the world. So many horrible things. And these are all the results of unbridled materialism. If people would follow the simple process in the Vedic scriptures, all these troubles could be averted. And not only averted, the present difficulties could be stopped. Why is the weather changing? Because of our industrial activities all over the world. More than that, we're slaughtering millions of animals in slaughterhouses. So the result of this is constant warfare. War is an unnatural karmic result of animal killing. But the leaders don't know any of this. They don't understand. They think that they can actually control people just by restricting the movements of their bodies or by controlling the contents of their minds through the media. Nothing could be further from the truth. You cannot change basic human nature. And the most basic aspect of human nature is that we are spiritual beings. So spiritual beings have an innate hunger for the absolute truth. And you cannot take this hunger away artificially. Either you can starve them or you can feed them. Our present leaders have chosen to starve us, to make us weak. But that doesn't remove the craving. And as soon as any truth is available, people will snap it up. That's human nature. You can't change that. That's the nature of the spirit soul, and that nature is eternal. So even if you fashion a society driven by advertising for useless, unnecessary manufactured goods, and even if you create an economy based on the exploitation of workers in huge, hellish factories and terrible, stifling offices, even if you take us away from the land and away from the material elements that are fashioned by God, and you create a complete artificial society where everyone just stays indoors all the time and doesn't know anything of reality, even if you could do that, even if that were possible, you could not remove this basic thirst for truth within the soul. Therefore, as soon as a teacher appears who knows this truth and who is giving it out, then gradually people come to hear from him. And gradually they form a sangha, or esoteric school, based on these teachings, and gradually they become spiritually strong, and they begin to enlighten others. And pretty soon, the materialistic leaders start to look like the fools they are. And they don't like this. So ever since the Roman Empire, there has been a program designed to keep this esoteric teaching a secret. And this has been going on with various degrees of success. But ultimately, the whole thing is doomed to failure. Why? Because the very problems that are destroying this civilization can be solved only by the knowledge in this esoteric teaching. So the more they deny this teaching, the more they weaken the foundations of their own society. And now, with the present overwhelming materialistic media, people's minds are being saturated with nonsense. They're not thinking of anything even related to spiritual truth. So the whole fabric of society is almost destroyed. And when it becomes destroyed, then the whole plan of the materialistic leaders will fail. Chaos will ensue. The oil is running out. The climate is changing. What more indicators do we need that the age of materialism is at an end? It's time to begin to form small, independent, local communities of seekers who are into the authentic esoteric teachings and who have access to the original spiritual information on yoga, meditation, and spiritual life. These communities will gradually spread. They'll form their own civilization parallel to the one that's failing, so that when it does finally hit the ground, that we'll be able to recover and we'll be able to start a new age of global enlightenment. That's the history of the future, and it has already been predicted in the scriptures of the esoteric teaching long, long ago. Everything that's happening now was known to the ancient sages who began this movement. And this information was passed down to the students who study it today. So we know the play. We've read the script. We know the lines and the action. We know what's going to happen next week, next year, next century. It's all there in the Vedic scriptures. So if you really want the truth, if you really want knowledge, then you should take shelter of this esoteric teaching. And just think one time to yourself, yes, this is the truth. These guys are giving me the straight stuff. Nobody else will. You can count on that. We're the only ones who really care about the truth, because we're the ones who really know the truth. The esoteric teaching exists to help every living entity in this material world end all suffering and attain their perfect bodies. We hope you've enjoyed this edition of My Perfect Body. This is David Hughes, your host, reminding you to visit us on the web at esotericteaching.org.